Hey, boxing fans, what do you say? What do you know? What are you doing? Old school saying here. Got a great fight coming up that I just have to talk about. Spence versus Crawford fight. Man, we got a good one here, folks. We got a really good one, fans. Think about it. When's the last time you can remember two guys with absolutely full resumes who were undefeated, who were fighting for the championship? I'm telling you, I think this is going to be a big exaggeration, man. I'm going back to Ali and Frazier on this one, man. These two are just two, just top notch. This is not guys with weak resumes with 25-0 records who are meeting each other. This is two guys who have full careers under their belts against really good fighters who are finally meeting. Fight should have taken place 2 years ago, but whatever. Anyway, this is going to be an intriguing fight for a lot of different reasons. Um, let's talk a little bit about both fighters. Spence, really strong fighter, power in both hands, solid chin, physically very strong, capable guy who can get inside, muscle you around, work angles on the inside, and really chop you down. He's the kind of guy who likes to weigh you down and then knock you out. Very strong guy. I see him pretty much as a I don't want to say, a one-dimensional fighter or, one-trick pony. I don't want to use those terms because they're derogatory. And in his case, he's such a good fighter. He's so good at what he does that I wouldn't want to say anything like that. But when you look at him against a guy again like Crawford, who's got so many different weapons and so many tools in that toolbox, you can't help but talk about, but highlight the actual differences between the two. But Spence is really good at what he does. Um, Crawford, you can go on hours talking about Crawford because he is such a diversified fighter who is so adaptable in the ring. He can do so many different things. He's got length and he can use that jab if he needs to. He can use that to set you up, create the distance that he wants. He's got a good solid right hand behind that. If when he does get into portions of the fight where he wants to start putting you away, he's capable of getting inside and really banging away and hitting you with power shots with either hand. He's probably the first guy since Marvin Hagler who legitimately can switch up and fight both left-handed and right-handed. He's completely ambidextrous. A lot of guys you see do what they do it as like a gimmick, and you could see it. You could see it if they're right-handed and they're changing over to left-handed. You could see the awkwardness. You can see usually. They maintain a dominant hand. They're only able to use in that case their right hand. Not real good with the left hand, so they're throwing a lot of hooks when they switch off to lefty. In Crawford's case, he looks like a left-handed fighter who's able to throw the full repertoire of punches from that side of the plate, and he's able to do it with power, which is odd. His feet, really enjoy watching Crawford because there are guys who can really dazzle you with their feet. I look at a guy like Lomachenko, who can just get out the side door and work the angles on you, and it's pretty. It's just the quickness, the agility, the athleticism is really impressive, and it stands out when you watch him do it. A guy like Crawford is so much more subtle because he works those angles in a very subtle way. He's not getting out the side door. He's getting just far enough over to his left or right to take himself out of danger, out of situations where he can get hit, and puts himself in a situation where he can hit you. He can counterpunch. He's a guy who can take the fight to you and be the aggressor in the fight. He can fight from distance. Like I said, he's got the 74-inch reach, which is really solid. And he's a guy who can break you down and get inside and start working your body. So his game normally is, that's what he does. You watch him fight, and sometimes earlier in the fight, it's almost like you're looking and going, okay, well, he looks like a good. But then you watch him during the course of the fight, and you watch how he changes up, and he eventually figures you out, and that's when he comes in and destroys you. He's not a guy who's going to come out there and just overwhelm you. He's a thinking man's fighter, a very cerebral guy who is basically feeling you out, figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are, where your openings are, and then he selects the attack because he's, like I said, he's diversified. He's adaptable. Then he figures out how best to beat you, and he does it. So I think he's the best fighter in the game. I think he's been the best fighter in the game for the last 5, 6 years. I just don't think he fights often enough, and I think this whole promotional thing, which I could do, I've actually done other videos on this, with the belts and the promoters and the TV, and it's a mess. But finally, we get a good fight here. So here's how I see the fight going. I think what's going to happen is, I think in order for Spence to win, and I think he knows this, he's going to have to fight at an absolutely frenetic pace. He's going to have to turn. He's going to have to use the same sort of aggression. The same sort of his strategy is not going to change in terms of what he does and how he does it. But I think the key here is pace. You're going to have to try to sit on top of Crawford from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight and just wear his ass down. He's going to have to fight. He's going to have to be Errol Spence in Henry Armstrong mode. It's going to have to be that kind of fight, and he's going to take some punishment on the way because he's not going to take this guy out early when he's fresh. He's going to have to just get on top of him, wear his ass down, work a crap load to the body and really hurt him, take his legs away from him. And he's going to have to be consistent. No rest, 3 minutes, bang, 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 bang. You're going, and you're just pushing Crawford like he's never been pushed before. That's the only way I see him winning this fight. To me, Crawford's got 10 different ways that he can win the fight. He can sit outside and box and just keep his distance and just win a 12 round decision by just outboxing Spence for the entire fight. I think he can fight more of a change of pace type fight where he's in the early rounds. He's going to move around, use his feet a little bit more than he usually does. Pick Spence apart with the jab, get in and out, work a little bit side to side, pick the points in the fight where he wants to really unload on Spence and then back out, for safety purposes. I think that's a possibility. I think it's going to be a combination. I don't see the one way thing I don't see. He's not going to walk through Spence. That would be suicidal to come in and say, okay, I'm going to come and walk right to you. He's not going to do that because Spence is the stronger guy. But I think what Crawford's going to do is, I think he's going to basically diversify his fight plan. You're going to see a little bit more boxing in the early rounds, a little bit more movement. He'll use his feet a little bit more, use the jab. Like I said, pick his spots. And then I think what he's going to do around 5, 6, 7, maybe 6, 7, 8, he's going to start sitting down on his punches and he's going to start landing bombs. And I think Spence is going to see an arsenal like he's never seen before. And I think he's going to buckle under eventually. I don't see him being knocked out because he's such a physically strong guy, and I know how determined he is. I think this is a referee stops contest type fight, somewhere around between the 9th and the 11th round. I don't think it'll go the distance. I think Crawford will stop Spence. I think it'll be a very, very good fight. I think it'll be very exciting in spots. But I don't think it's going to be one of those. It's not going to be a Hagler-Hearns type fight by any means. Crawford is just too much of a thinking fighter to get into that kind of mess. So I'd see a really, really good one. I'm definitely gonna buy the popcorn and stay up the extra hours to watch this one because it's going to be a great fight. Anyhow, that's how I see the fight. If you disagree, you think I'm crazy, you think I'm stupid, whatever you think, leave the comments down below. You know how I am. I will jump right in that rabbit hole with you and we can have a good, hopefully a friendly discussion. Anyhow, hope things are great in your life. Remember, I always tell you, my father used to tell me, this is a joke. You get knocked down, you got to get up and you got to keep throwing punches. Keep throwing punches. You never stop, okay, until you're dead, until you're gone. And I hope you got that kind of resilience in your life. I try to, not always. We all fall short. See the guy back there? That's the leader. That's the guy. That's the man. The man God that we all need to follow. Anyhow, hope everything's well with you. Hope your family's blessed. Peace out, old school saint. Let's hope for a really good one tomorrow night. I think it's almost guaranteed it's going to be a really good fight. Take care.